Brawlhalla is a free-to-play game, which means income must be obtained through other means other than a game purchase. So most of Brawlhalla's cosmetics are obtained through mammoth coins, which are obtained by purchasing them with real-life money. Ugh. However, there are a ton of cosmetics obtained by other means. These obtainabilities can range from simple limited-time charity purchases to being the best player in the world. And with the game being almost 9 years old, there are a bunch of limited/rare items. So I decided to compile them all into one video. If it's limited, it's most likely here, except for Battle Pass items. Everyone knows they're limited, so we're just not going to cover them. There are 12 cosmetic types, and we'll be going through almost all of them. We'll order them by how many items are in each entry and how interesting they are. We'll go from KO effects to loading frames to podiums to UI themes to sidekicks to legend skins to colors to weapon skins to emotes to avatars to finally titles. And in each entry, we'll order each item by how rare I think they are. And we'll be covering unused items too because I think they're cool. This video is going to be super long, so let's waste no time. So up first we have KO effects, and we're only starting off with KO effects because, to my belief, there are no rare KO effects. The only KO effect we can consider rare is the Flames of Ragnarok. This KO effect is handed out to those who have purchased the Collector's Pack DLC. With this, you'll get like a bunch of cosmetics, with this KO effect being one of them. This is the most expensive KO effect out there, costing $100. It does differ if the DLC pack is on sale. And it's the only KO effect to not be sold in the Brawlhalla, other than the Battle Pass KO effects. Yep, that was the only rare KO effect. But we do have 4 unobtainable KO effects. Now, these 4 KO effects aren't too different from the default KO effect, but in early Brawlhalla, these 4 KO effects were alongside the default KO effect, and could be seen in the alpha footage of Brawlhalla. These KO effects came in 4 different colors, being green, pink, orange, or sepia, as listed in the files, or a faded yellow with a black outline. Why BMG scrapped these 4 is unknown, but I do feel they should come back. They're simple recolors of the default KO effect, and I feel like they should be given to everybody, so they can give, new players a bit of personality. Yeah, that's all for KO effects. The further we go, the longer these will get, so stay tuned. Up next, we have loading frames. The loading frames, or borders dubbed by the community, are some of the least touched on cosmetic in Brawlhalla. It used to just be ranked rewards until battle passes came out. We don't have a lot to talk about here, but there are some rare items. For our first loading frame, we have the Valhalla frame. The Valhalla frame is probably going to be the only ranked item we're going to be talking about. I think there's like 2 other ranked items in this list. But anyways, the Valhalla frame is handed out to those who are currently in Valhalla. Once the game detects you are out of Valhalla, you will lose this frame. Valhalla, to those who do not know, is the added highest rank in Brawlhalla. It doesn't act like other ranks though. Rather, it is handed out to those who are at the top of their region elo-wise. Depending on the region, you'll either need to be top 150 or top 10 in your region. You'll also need to win 100 matches before you are given Valhalla. You can see how this frame could be rare, and only so many people can hold it at a time. It is a very pretty border, and probably my favorite. It's just, really hard to get, and I've only had it once. For the next frame, we have the Portal of Darkness. Now, this frame is probably the most unique if we are talking about how to obtain every frame. This frame is part of an item series, with the series all having green eyes attached to the cosmetic, with black and gray being the main colors to them. I'm not sure the exact name for this, but we're going to call it the Occult Item Series. Get used to seeing these items because they'll be all over this video. They were mainly handed out during the second half of 2022 in the eSport viewership reward tracks, which also get used to hearing that. The Portal of Darkness was handed out during day 2 of BCX 2022, and for watching 8 hours of BCX on Twitch, you got this frame. As of making this video, this is the only frame that was handed out in viewership rewards, and will probably be the rarest frame due to its attainability. I guess besides the Battle Pass item. Anyways, usually for viewership rewards, they don't ever hand them out again. Meaning you either had to watch on that day or buy a code, which get more expensive the more time passes. And Brawlhalla doesn't really want you doing that. And as far as I know, there are no unused loading frames. So let's move straight to podiums. Now, podiums aren't made too often, and there aren't a bunch of rare podiums. Like, there are pretty much none. However, there is a trend with Brawlhalla and its seasonal podiums. Every year, the seasonal events seem to have a different yearly podium. This goes all the way back to 2017. The rarest of these podiums would be the 2017 Heatwave podium. Keep this in mind for every seasonal event, as these podiums seem to sometimes change every year. Take, for example, the Halloween podiums. For 3 years, it's had a graveyard theme, but in 2021, the theme was changed into the Day of the Dead. But sometimes these podiums don't change a bunch. The Winter Wonderland podiums just seem to upgrade. Like, here, tell me, is this the 2017 podium or the 2018 podium? The correct answer is neither. It was the 2019 podium. And while there are a bunch of these seasonal podiums, I'm not gonna list all of them. All you need to know is the rarest of all these podiums would be like the 2017 variants or the 2018 variants. And there's like a variant for like every single year. And as stated earlier, the rarest of these would be the 2017 Heatwave podium. As for unobtainable podiums, there are 2, and they used to be in the game, but they were changed and now removed. You may or may not know about this, but this was the old default podium before it was changed. It was like this until the first gala event happened, aka Brawlhalla's 5th anniversary. This was more than just a seasonal event, as it brought a lot of updates with its looks and polish, and one of these changes was the default podium. The new default podium looks very polished, and I like it a lot. Now, I only have one small note on this old podium, and that note being it's still used in the game. You see, when previewing items, this podium is below the item to cast a shadow, and they never switch this podium to the new podium. Should they? I think they should, but it's kind of cool seeing the old podium. Now, the second unobtainable podium is a lot less known, like I haven't seen anybody talk about it, and it's the old default podium but the Hellboy variant. During the Hellboy crossover event, the background for the menus was changed to the Apocalypse background. And you know, it's all orange and reddish, while the podium's a bit blue, so to match with it, they tinted the default podium to red. And you would only know about this from either reading the wiki or having the default podium equipped during this event. And even if you had the default podium equipped, you might not have even noticed. This podium is never talked about. When researching for this video, this one caught me by surprise. No other notes here, so we'll just move on to UI themes. Up next, we have UI themes, another cosmetic BMG doesn't really add stuff for. It's actually one of my favorite cosmetics. Probably the most common rare UI theme, that's super weird to say, is the Gold Forged Jewel. This will be the only forged item on this list. But we're adding this one to the list because of how few UI themes there are, and because it's the most expensive Gold Forged item in the rank shop. The Gold Forged Jewel is the Gold Forged UI. It costs 15,000 glory to buy. It can only be purchased once you have bought the Sky Forged Jewel for 10,000 glory, so it totals to 25,000 glory total just to buy the Gold Forged variant, which takes a lot of seasons to buy. The next UI theme on our list is the Founder's Insignia, the PC and PS variant. These two UI themes are given to players who have purchased the Valhalla Pack DLC on PC, the PlayStation 4 Founders Pack on PlayStation, or the Collector's Pack. The UI theme differs depending on the system you bought the DLC on. If you bought the Collector's Pack on PC, you got the yellow variant, and if you bought it on PlayStation, you got the blue variant. As for Xbox, Switch, and mobile, there is no special variant of the insignia. One small note we can make about these two is they're the exact same UI theme, just recolored differently. Other than that, there's not much to note about these two, so we'll just move on to the next UI theme. The next item on our list is the Eyes of the Occult. The Eyes of the Occult is the UI theme for the Occult item series. For watching 8 hours of BCX 2022 Day 1, you were given this UI theme. And to be honest, it might just be the rarest UI theme in the game. You had 1 day to get it, or you could just buy a code. Nothing to note here, but they look pretty cool. As for changed/removed UI themes, there are a few. This one is called the Jotun Seal. It seems to be the default UI theme with some rock candy attached to it. Perhaps the UI themes would have been a lot more simpler. In the game files, it is listed as Crystal. This next UI theme has no name and is just labeled as Gemmed. It looks a lot more default than the Jotun Seal. It's alright. You have the diamonds from the diamond border. Other than that, it's kind of boring. Yeah, for this next UI theme, we have this. Yeah, there's Nothing for it. In the game, this is called Sands. There's like a D at the end. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Yeah, this one sucks. These next two UI themes were old designs of the default insignia and the collector's insignia. Brawlhalla did have an older theme with this orangish yellow color scheme and these specific patterns, which can be seen in the old Brawlhaven. A small note is that the collector's insignia used to be called the Might of Asgard. But other than that, yeah, that was all for UI themes, and I hope they make more of these, because these are really cool. Up next, we have Sidekicks, which are one of my favorite cosmetics in the game. You know, having these little dudes help you with stuff is a fun idea for a cosmetic. Sadly, though, there are not many rare sidekicks. Up first, which I don't even know if you could consider this one rare, we have Cheddar. Cheddar seems to be a rat with some gadget on his back that works as a propeller, I think. To unlock this sidekick, you must purchase the Mad Genius Scarlet skin for 240 mammoth coins. Upon doing so, you'll also be granted this sidekick. Now, I only put it here in rare sidekicks because of how you get them. You have to buy a specific Scarlet skin for a lot of mammoth coins, and nowhere in the game does it tell you how to get Cheddar, other than the Scarlet skin preview. We do have two for this next one, which is Cogsworth and Personal Sentry 4. These sidekicks are handed out upon purchasing the Collector's Pack or the now removed PS4 Founders Pack or Valhalla Pack, a lot like the Founders Insignia. And just like the Founders Insignia, depending on the system you buy it from, the sidekick will change. On PC, you'll get Cogsworth, and on PlayStation, you'll get the Personal Sentry 4. And of course, as for the other systems, I don't think you even get a sidekick. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe you actually get one. One note we could make about these sidekicks is the Personal Sentry 4 is based off of PlayStation accessories, like the PlayStation VR and the motion controls. Next in line, we have the BCX fans. There are like 7, 8 of these. The BCX fans are a series of mammoth sidekicks who are blue, resembling the BMG logo. They are handed out in BCX packs. A new BCX pack gets released every year, with the contents of this pack being unique to that year. They usually get released later in the year, so around November. These sidekicks go all the way back to 2016, and these sidekicks used to be exclusive to that year before the BCX 2020 incident. You see, some of these sidekicks aren't as rare as they used to be. BCX 2020 was the first BCX to not have a LAN with it, so because this was being streamed on Twitch as well, they could add a lot of incentive for people to watch. They added some crazy exclusive items to these viewership rewards. These BCX sidekicks were some of those rewards. So the 2016 to 2020 BCX sidekicks are not as rare as they used to be. You can maybe still find a code out there, but they might have gotten a bit expensive. So the BCX 2021 and 2022 sidekicks might be the only ones that are rare, being they were never handed out in viewership rewards. So I don't know if this is really the right place to put them. Even with their rarity changed, I'd still argue they are rare. For our last rare sidekick, we have the Malefic Grasp. I think I said that right. This sidekick is of a hand with an eye. It is of course a part of the occult item series we've talked about, and this might be the rarest sidekick as of now. To earn this sidekick, you had to watch 6 hours of BCX 2022 Day 3 on Twitch. You can only get this sidekick for free for 1 day, or you could just buy a code. And I recommend you buy it soon because, you know, the more time passes, the more rare these items get. Now, this might be the rarest sidekick in the game, leaving out Battle Pass sidekicks, but I don't know, a new sidekick can come out of nowhere. Moving on to unobtainable sidekicks, we do have a few. The referee sidekick is one you may have seen. It's the default sidekick in a referee outfit and only seen in Kung Foot and Volley Brawl. They stay in the background and they drop the ball. You cannot use them as a sidekick, and I'm really mad about it. Like crazy mad about it. If they sold the sidekick, I would buy it. There are two for this next one, which is the Parrot Pirate, the Pirate Parrot, and the Pink Default Sidekick. Now you may have seen my other video where I talk about it, but yeah, this is a sidekick that was found in the image render tool. It was completely whited out, and that's all we knew about it. And I don't know why, it's a little creepy to me. And update today, it is still unobtainable. Funny enough, they got rid of it. Kinda. They only got rid of the texture, because you could still find its name in the render tool, but it shows the default sidekick, but pink. Now, why is the default sidekick pink here? I don't know. In the game files, they are pink as well. Now, for the parrot, I think they tried to get rid of them, but only deleted their texture, not their file, so we most likely will never see this sidekick again. As for why the default sidekick is pink in the files, I don't know. For this final one, we have the Rayman Dragon. This sidekick is the dragon from... well, you're not gonna believe this, and was probably supposed to be the sidekick for the event, before it was replaced by the Lum King. The dragon is still present in Brawlhalla, but in the KO effect rather than a sidekick. So I don't know why they replaced this sidekick. I mean, it looks good, and I have not seen anyone talk about this. I think earlier in Brawlhalla's history, the sidekick was in the render tool, which kind of sucks. The sidekick does look pretty cool. And that's all for sidekicks. An interesting list, but we must move on to legend skins. Alright, next up we have legend skins, the main cosmetic of Brawlhalla. And they might be the main Brawlhalla cosmetic, but there's not a lot in terms of rare items. As for unobtainable though, there is a lot. So let's just start. Up first, we have the Yeti Taro skin, or the Yeti Taros. The Yeti Taro skin is a Taro skin where he's a Yeti, and he's always angry. This skin is only obtainable through a code by buying Brawlhalla merch from the Yeti website. Upon purchasing the merch from the website, you'll be given the merch of course, and along with it, you'll be given a card with the Yeti skin on it, which is pretty clean. The code is on the back of this card. Now this skin isn't crazy rare, but it does cost a bit to obtain. Nowhere in the game does it promote it. As for the price of the skin, it depends on the merch you buy. The lowest I've seen the merch go is 10 bucks, while higher price merch can cost you up to 40. This skin is really cool, I like the color placement, but that should be all the info. Up next, we have the meta devs. These 8 skins are the rarest skins in the game, I'd argue. They have a theme that is a bit hard to explain, but you could see that they do share designs and colors. I want to say a sky theme, but I don't know what you'd call this. The original way of obtaining these skins was through meeting devs at LANs or cons, which is the reason for their naming. Met a dev. It just so happens the word meta was thrown in there, giving its cool sounding name. Every year, a different meta dev is handed out. The earliest being Orion's meta dev in 2015, then 2016 was Bryn's meta dev, then Ember, then Bodvar, then Asuri, then Fate, then Baraza, and finally Taros. And once the next year comes around, we'll get a new meta dev. This 1 year handout is the cause of their rarity. Once a year passes, that year's meta dev obtainability would be scrapped, and the only way to get the skin was through code. You were given these sick looking cards which had the legends on them. On the back it had the code, meaning buying codes of these meta devs were really expensive. I think there was an Orion meta dev that was $1,000. Even today, they are being sold for extreme prices. However, their rarity was threatened by something called the meta dev incident. In 2019, COVID occurred, meaning LANs and cons were being shut down. Around this time, Brawlhalla had to host online tournaments instead of LANs, and the big issue was how they were going to hand out meta devs. Around Battle Pass Season 1, Brawlhalla introduced viewership rewards to those who watched their tournaments, dev streams, and charity streams on Twitch. Cut to a few weeks before BCX 2020, they needed to hype this event up. It's the World Championship. I mean, come on. And because it was the World Championship, they needed big rewards. So not only did they hand out their new esport color scheme, but also the Asuri metadev to ensure people actually got the metadev for that year. A lot of people could not get their hands on Asuri's metadev because of COVID. So this would cover for this. And every single metadev ever. While on the surface, not a big deal, only an extra 70,000 people acquired the metadev codes, some people were watching with multiple streams, essentially duplicating codes, and then selling them. Now, to compensate for the players who owned the metadevs before BCX 2020, the Brawl devs gave all the OG metadev owners exclusive titles, which we'll get to. Oh, and they also handed out the new Fate metadev, I guess. And while not to an extreme point, it was a bit controversial. Now, this happened again with BCX 2021 and the metadev Baraza. However, there is one metadev that is still pretty rare, which is the metadev Taros. As of making this video, the skin was only handed out a few times, and the codes are pretty expensive, so I'd argue the metadev Taros is the rarest skin in the game. Of course, future LAN events will also be handing out this metadev Taros, so metadev Taros will not be as rare as it used to be once the year comes to a close, but I'd argue they're not going to hand out this skin through viewership rewards. Alright, on to the...
You forgot something.
What? Alright, a small note. Upon redeeming the MetaDev Teros and future MetaDevs, they will give you their MetaDev emoji. Alright, that MetaDev section was quite long, but we have an even longer list of unobtainable skins / changed. We'll start off with changed skins. This is the old Atomic Orion skin. I'm kind of glad they changed it to this new one, because the old one looks goofy. It's too round. And the crazy part is, when the skin is facing away, the old round head design is still used. Ooh, the old Castaway Thatch looks awful. It's fun with the hands and feet, but unpleasant. I feel like this was a good change for the skin. For Cyber Bodvar, there are actually 2 old designs. And this one just makes me really sad. The older designs for this skin makes him look more like a knight. Not that the current skin is bad, I just think the older ones look cooler. However, this one might need a perspective change. This was the old King Roland, which... why is he looking down? I think the craziest part about this is still used in the game. This head icon is still used for one of the chest preview icons, and the perspective is messy, which is probably the reason why they changed it. As for why they still use the icon, I don't know. The old Supreme Ruler Vrax is really overwhelming. Now, the older version of this skin looks amazing, but I could tell why they changed it. While the older one did look cool, I do prefer the newer one. Not much of a change here. Vrax the King, all we have is the old icon. I don't like this. Early in Brawl's development, you can customize this avatar with different outfits. There are a bunch of these. Now, I was gonna list these out, but because of the sheer number of these, I feel like that'd just be a huge time waste. So I'll just show you while I talk. A lot of these skins have male and female variants. Some of these look like early versions of existing legend skins, while some just got scrapped completely. Like this one. This would have been sick as a legend.
But isn't it around?
Alright, that's all for skins. Let's move on to color schemes. For color schemes, there's not that many entries, but these entries are super long. So I hope you like Brawlhalla color scheme history. Up first, we have Raven's Honor. Raven's Honor is jet black with purple. It was a highly requested color and was brought into the game with the 100 million Brawlers event. This event brought a new logo with it, had a ton of sales in Brawlhalla, switched up the Brawl of the Week every day, and brought the new color scheme, Raven's Honor. To obtain this color, you had to win with a legend to unlock it for that legend while this event was active. After obtaining it for every single legend, you would unlock the Universal Raven's Honor, which universal color schemes means you obtain it for every single legend and future legends. The reason this is, in quotes, rare is because it is limited, meaning if you missed it, you can't get it. However, my guess is they're gonna bring this back. I just don't know how. It was a highly requested color, and to only put it up for like a month doesn't seem realistic. I like this color a lot, however, it does not beat my favorite. Up next, we have Community Colors in Community Colors V2. Community Colors is a beige with a dark blue and a bright yellowish orange. It has quite the history on how to obtain them. I think I'm saying community weird. Back to the topic. Yeah, you gotta be active in the community. You can get a code from a content creator, make some Brawlhalla art that BMG saw, or winning giveaways. Their name states their purpose, which is to be a gift to those who are active in Brawl's community.
Why can I not say it correctly?
However, upon the viewership reward addition to official Brawlhalla streams, another method to obtain these was made. The first ever reward track handed out CCs as the first reward. This meant there was a guaranteed way to get these colors, making them not as rare as they were before. And around this time, the codes for CCs got a lot cheaper. Brawlhalla kept handing out CCs and future viewership reward tracks, mainly in charity streams. Now CCs were common. It wasn't until Brawlhalla's 6th charity stream that things would change. Of course, Brawlhalla handed out CCs with the stream, but they also were handing out a new color scheme, Community Colors V2. Now Community Colors V2 didn't replace Community Colors, rather placed aside them. CC's V2 is also a beige, but with a hint of pink. A baby blue and a solid pink are also part of this color scheme. This color would be the main handout during dev streams. One thing to note about these colors is the way you redeem them. CCV2s are not universal like the original CCs. Once redeemed, the code will give you a random legend with the color scheme, meaning you would need to get 56 color codes if you want the entire roster to have this color, and even more codes once they add new legends. While rarer than CCs, this color would be handed out more the more dev streams they do. Next, we have the esport color schemes. The esport color schemes are colors handed out during esport streams on Brawlhalla's Twitch. Depending on the year, you can earn different colors. There are 3 of these as of making this video. Esports V1 is a jet black with the secondary colors of a smooth blue and a solid yellow. This color was announced during one of the dev streams, and which you can earn it during BCX 2020. You could also earn this color during 2021 esport events. Halfway throughout the year though, they added Esports V2 in the reward tracks, but it did not replace Esports V1 just yet. The reward tracks had a majority amount of Esport V1s than Esport V2s. However, upon the Autumn Championship in 2021, it would be the last official way of earning Esport V1s, as BCX Last Chance Qualifiers reward track would be fully Esport V2. This replacement would mark the end of Esport V1 rewards. Out of the 3 color schemes, Esport V1 would be the rarest. Esport V2 would then be the main reward for esport events in 2022. Esport V2 is a light black with the secondary colors of bright red and a hint of a goldish yellow. This same story can be said for Esports V2, as it was handed out all of 2022 upon halfway throughout the year. That's when Esports V3 slipped into the reward tracks. Esport V2's final handout was BCX 2022 Day 2, when only 1 code was handed out in the track, and 1 was handed out during the side stream. On BCX Day 3, the color was then replaced by Esports V3. Esports V3 is a light yellow, with the secondary colors being different tones of teal. Out of the 3 esport color schemes, this one has the most unique palette. One thing to note about these colors is all 3 of them are not universal. Up next, we have Charged OG, one of the most infamous and most likely the rarest color in the game. Charged OG is a jet black with white and green. The way you would obtain these colors originally is through the Mountain Dew event. Winning with a character during this event would grant you this color for that legend you won with. Now a thing to note is even if somebody were to win with all the legends during this event, they would only have this color up to Thor because, well, Thor was the most recent legend during that event. After this event ended, there was no way to get this color for future legends at the time. This was until the 2020 Mammoth Cup, where this color was handed out universally. So old and new players had a reason to watch the stream. The only other time this color was handed out was during the 2021 Mammoth Invitational. Now there is a small chance they bring this color back, but I doubt it. As for unobtainable colors, there are no unused colors, but we do have 2 change colors. You see, I wasn't around during this time, but Brawlhalla's classic color rewards had an older look to them. The old white was, well, still white, just not bleach white. It had a light gold tint, you see, and it was kind of ugly. I'm sure if you were to slap this color scheme onto the right skin, it would look pretty cool. As for the base default skin, yuck. Now, old black seems to be pretty cool. Old black is a lot like today's black, but the dark red is a dark purple. It looks really nice. The reason they changed this color was, well, according to the wiki, user feedback. I find it funny. The older Brawlhalla players wanted the old black's purple to be red, while the newer Brawlhalla players wanted a black and purple color. The color the old Brawlhalla players got rid of. At least we got both now. Alright, well that was all for colors. That's actually kind of short. On the script, it looks a lot more overwhelming than it really is, I guess. So we'll move on to weapon skins, which has a tremendous lot of entries. Now, this is a bit out of nowhere, but I need to put it here. This color came out while I was finishing the video, and it's easier just to add it here than plop it with the rest of the colors. This color is Esports V4. Esports V4 is pink with the secondary colors of gold and yellow. Just like the handout patterns in the other esport color schemes, it was first handed out in July 2023 and will be handed out more in 2024, and will be replaced in early 2025. Out of all the esport color schemes, I hate this one the most. Alright, as stated before, up next we have weapon skins. I think the one cosmetic to have the most cosmetics is weapon skins. For every legend skin, there are 2 weapon skins, and there's a lot of legend skins, so take the amount of legend skins and multiply it by 2. Up first, we have an honorable mention, which is the Regal Sun Weapon Series. The Regal Sun Weapon Series is a set of weapon skins for every weapon except for battle boots. Never mind. The original way of obtaining these weapons were through viewership rewards. These set of weapon skins were handed out during 2021 esport events. They have sharp edges, with the main color being gold. The first weapon skin handed out in this weapon series is the Soul Smasher Hammer, which was given away during week 3 of the 2021 Winter Championship, making the hammer the rarest weapon skin in the series. Making the hammer the prior rarest, because in patch 7.08 they put a bunch of viewership rewards in the Brawlhalla, which included the entire Regal Sun weapon series. Now they are being sold for 60 mammoth coins. Alright, on to the actual rare weapons. For our first entry, we have the RGB weapon series. The RGB weapon series is a collection of weapon skins following the theme of RGB. They are the main viewership reward of 2023. The rarest of these would be the RGB Axe, handed out for watching 22 hours of week 1 of the Winter Championship in 2023. This took place from February 3rd to the 5th. As of making this video, not all of the weapons in the RGB weapon series have came out. The most recent weapon in the set is the RGB Cannon. There's nothing else to really note here, other than they look pretty cool. Up next, we have the Mahou Shoujo weapon series. The Mahou Shoujo weapon series is a weapon series based off the magical girl aesthetic. I don't got a better way to explain it. These weapon skins are given out in Brawlhalla death streams. They popped in around April 25th in 2023. As of now, the spear is the only weapon being handed out, as the sword has only been shown. They are most likely going to create more weapon skins under this set. The rarest out of the weapon series is the Sweet Magi Dream Spear, which is given to those who watch 24 hours of Brawlhalla's death streams from April 25th. Up next, we have the Apex Key Sword. This sword is of an Apex keyboard and was handed out to those who installed the SteelSeries GG software on their PC, meaning players who didn't have access to a PC would need to buy a code online if they wanted this sword. And to those who are curious, I believe the SteelSeries GG application is for SteelSeries gear. I believe to also win giveaways for SteelSeries items, and it also allows you to clip stuff. I'm not sure if you could still obtain this sword skin, and if not, then the weapon skin will increase in rarity the more time goes on. It looks pretty cool too. For our next entry, we have the Axe of the World Eagle and Odin's Spear. There are 7 Odin weapons from the Gifts of Asgard skin set. Out of the 7, 3 are unobtainable. The Axe of the World Eagle and Odin's Spear. And the third unobtainable Odin weapon hasn't been released yet. And we'll talk about it real fast. Tyr's Fists is the Odin Gauntlets. And that's all we know about it. Most likely it will be added to promote something, but it's only found in the render tool. Back to the main 2 weapon skins. For some reason, they stopped handing out these 2. The original way of getting these 2 was by subscribing to the Brawlhalla YouTube channel for the Axe and following Brawlhalla on Facebook for the Spear. After some time, the links for these 2 stopped working. The YouTube promotion was then filled by the Horace Velger's Eyes Blasters, and the Facebook promotion was just removed, not being replaced by anything. Which is odd because they're still updating the Facebook. So it's not like they stopped posting on Facebook, it's just they got rid of this promotion. And I guess a small note is these are handed out by code, so you might be able to buy them, but they're probably like extremely expensive. Up next, we have the Occult Weapon Series. Of course, the Occult themed item set does have weapon skins. The Occult skin set was handed out in 2022. The first weapon skin to be released in this item series would be the Dark Conjurers, which was given out during week 1 of the 2022 Winter Championship, making the Blasters the rarest weapon skin in the series. Up next, we have the Charity Weapon Skins. This is just a weapon series, might be an item series, but as of right now, there's only weapon skins for this series. This weapon set doesn't actually have a name, so it is just labeled as the Charity Weapon Series on the wiki. The unique part of this weapon series is it's not limited to a year. They're handed out during Brawlhalla's Twitch charity streams. The rarest of the bunch would be the Spear of Wisdom, handed out during the second charity stream, which happened around December 11th, 2020. For watching 8 hours of the charity stream, you were given this weapon skin. Most likely, they're gonna keep adding weapons to this charity set, and once every single weapon is filled, they'll probably make a new weapon series. I'm pretty sure that's all for the weapon series, so we'll move on to the seasonal weapons. There are a good bit of seasonal weapons. These weapons are handed out for buying seasonal packs, much like the BCX packs with the Sidekicks. When buying these seasonal packs, you'll get 300 mammoth coins, a seasonal shard, and a seasonal weapon skin, which differs depending on the season. But because there are so many, and there isn't one rare seasonal weapon, I've decided to list the rarest one for each weapon. For axe, we have the Blooming Blade. For blasters, we have the Budding Blasters. For bow, we have the Spring Breeze. For cannon, we got the Orchard Barrel, I think. For gauntlets, we have the Beach Bash. For greatsword, we have the Fungal Flourish. For hammer, we have the Dawn Hammer. For guitars, we have the Autumn Wind. For orb, we have the Snow Globe. For lance, we have the Beach King. For scythe, we have the Autumn Harvest. For spear, we have the Great Bite Shark. And finally, for sword, we have the Frozen Edge. And for those who are curious, the rarest out of these would be the Dawn Hammer. And for our final rarest weapon skin, we have the Cure Seeker. This hammer skin is of an owl. It was sold 4 times total, once for every year from 2014 to 2017, and it was 60 mammoth coins. The description of this item states, proceeds go to Casper and Friends Quest for the Cause, which is a charity drive that is held yearly. After August 9th, 2017, it was never sold again, and most likely for good. And if this item ever does get re-released, it will most likely be redesigned. One thing to note about this weapon skin is its constant pink on the skin, no matter the color. Not only does the breast cancer awareness logo stay pink, but so do the eyes. Finally, we're on to unobtainable weapon skins, and to be honest, there are a lot. As much as legend skins, maybe. The majority of these weapon skins are either just scrapped weapon skins or scrapped weapon skins for past legends. Back then, legends were going to have more than 2 weapons. There is a lot more to it, but we're here to talk about weapon skins, so look it up if you're really curious. Also, I hit my table. I don't know if you heard that. In the render tool, there are a bunch of weapon skins you can find. For sword, we have 6 weapons: the Golden Saber, the MK Katana, the Obsidian Edge, the Outlander's Knife, the Power Sword, and the Salvage Razor. For hammer, we have 7 weapon skins: the Combustion, the Tory Mallet, the Titanium Crusher, the Kingsman, the Nine Shell, the Scrapyard Bruiser, and the Hammer. That's the weapon skin name, I'm not kidding. For blasters, we have 3 weapon skins: the Venom Spitters, the Blaster Pistols, and the Golden Gears. For axe, we have 2 weapon skins: the Gear Death Experience, beautiful name, and the Volcanic Edge. And for guitars, cannon, lance, spear, and gauntlets, there's only 1 weapon skin for each: the Edge Guards, the MK1 cannon, or the Mark 1 cannon, the Neon Surfer, the Sparrocketeer, and the Fists. Some of those were actually pretty cool, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't repurposed them. They did repurpose some of them by changing their looks, but most of them are probably going to stay unused. Alright, we're going to talk about the test weapons now, which is going to take a bit of explaining. So in the game, there are default weapons. Not like a character's default weapon, I'm talking default, dude. These weapons are used for when devs are testing new weapons. You can see these yourself in training mode by forcing a weapon onto a legend that does not have that weapon. There are a bunch of things to note here. The sword, blasters, lance, and hammer have 2 default weapons, one for the select screen and one in game. The cannon, axe, and greatsword have untextured looks to them, and orb's a ball. Oh, and by the way, there's also default battle boots, which I didn't mention it here because I recorded this before battle boots came out, so my bad. Next on the list is the scrapped legend weapon skins. Of course, when legends had 4 weapons, they needed default skins for those legends, and they got a lot of work done before they scrapped the idea, which is the cause of these weapon skins. Except these didn't really make it into the render tool or as an actual weapon skin. Some of the unobtainable weapon skins we just talked about were actually scrapped legend weapon skins. So while some of them do live in the render tool, some didn't make it. Here are Bodvar's lance and blasters, kinda weird to think about. Here's Cassidy's lance and an unused hammer skin. Here's Orion's hammer. Lord Vax also had a sword and a hammer, and there's also an unused blasters and lance skin. Nash had a sword, a lance, and blasters. That can't be considered a gun, right? Koinai also had blasters and a lance. Thatch had a lance as well. Scarlet used to have blasters. There are also unused skins for her lance and hammer, and Lucian had a sword and lance as well. Not only did they make default weapons for these legends, but also weapon skins for these legends. Meaning there are weapon skins for legends who don't have specific weapons. Wild. There's actually a ton of weapon skins we do not get to use. Some of them I'm kind of sad about, while others I'm kind of good without. But they could bring some of these back. I'd be down for that. Let's move on to emotes. Alright, up next we will be talking about emotes. And I think out of all the cosmetics for Brawlhalla, I use these the least. When I'm playing Brawlhalla, I'm trying to, play Brawlhalla. Not, this. Ugh. That's besides the point. Anyways, let's jump into the list. This will not be our first item, as we have another honorable mention, which will be the Avatar Cape. In this emote, you turn around, flapping your cape in the wind with whatever avatar you have equipped showing on the cape. The reason I put it under honorable mentions is because of its origins. Originally, it was not a Brawlhalla item, rather a viewership reward. In fact, the first ever exclusive viewership reward item ever. The first ever viewership reward track has 4 items in it, with this emote being the 3rd item you can unlock for watching 20 hours of the Low Tier City 2020 Mid-Season Championship and the Steel Series 2020 Championship, taking place from July 18th to August 24th. However, patch 5.09 added this emote to the Brawlhalla for 120 mammoth coins, killing its rarity. We have another honorable mention, which is the Champion's Throne emote. Now this emote has you sitting on the Champion's Throne all smug-like. Now some characters do not look smug at all, like some look really mad. This emote was given to those who watched 16 hours of BCX 2021 doubles, which took place from November 5th to November 7th. But just like the Regal Sun weapon set, it got added to the Brawlhalla in patch 7.08. It does look good with the gilded deco though. And we also have one more honorable mention, which will be the Solidarity emote. In this emote, you put your fist in the air with quite the serious expression. Now, you might be thinking, what a boring emote. Why would anyone buy this? Well, it's a charity item, so now you are a villain. This item is being sold in the Brawlhalla for 100 mammoth coins, which the proceeds would go to Campaign 0, which is a campaign to stop police brutality, I believe. Most likely this emote is based on the BLM fist icon. Symbol? Emblem? This? Other than that, I think that's it. There's not a lot to it. I mean, you're really just standing there with your fist up. The whole reason this is an honorable mention is because it's supposed to be limited, but it's still in the shop even today. So it might become rare one day. Alright, for our first actual emote on the list, we got the World Tree Initiative emote. In this emote, you plant a tree that grows in under a second. They got some of that bone meal, clearly. This emote is rare due to its limited time sale, being a charity item, with the proceeds going to planting trees. The pricing for this item was 120 mammoth coins. This emote was made for a specific occasion, being the Green Jam 2022, which Brawlhalla won the most adoptive award for. And a small note would be how the tree looks like the same tree in Great Hall, which is a super fun detail. For our next emote, we got the Mammoth Ride emote. In this emote, you get yourself a quarter and have the grandest, most amazing adventure of your life. This emote was given to those who watched 8 hours of BCX 2022 Day 3, which took place on November 6th. That's one of the hardest words to say. I think this part of the list is where things start to get more confusing with what item is more rare than which. While older limited items would be more rare, items like the Mammoth Ride were only given out for 1 day. So I could be wrong about a lot of these, so forgive me on that. Anyways, the only thing to note is how the Mammoth is to reference the BMG mascot, of course. Now this next emote is slightly rarer than the Mammoth Ride. We got the Drum Solo emote. In this emote, you kill it on the BCX drums. This emote was given to those who watched 6 hours of BCX 2022 Day 2, which took place on November 5th. For this next entry, we have 3 emotes, which are the Cake-Aversary emotes. In this emote, you hold a cake with a big ol' number on it representing Brawlhalla's age at the time of its release. Then it explodes. These emotes are handed out in the Gala Seasonal Event, which is an event to celebrate Brawlhalla's anniversary. This event was created once Brawlhalla was 5 years old, and has continued ever since. Every year brings a new cake emote to celebrate the anniversary, the difference in each emote being the number on the cake and the flavor. And as stated earlier, we have 3 of them. The first being the rarest of the bunch, there is the 5th Cakeversary, which is vanilla, then the 6th Cakeversary, which is chocolate, and finally the 7th Cakeversary, which is either strawberry or red velvet. And once Brawlhalla turns 8, we'll get the 8th Cakeversary emote. As for what flavor it will be, we don't know. My guess is, cookie cake? I like cookie cake. According to the descriptions of these emotes, Cassidy baked the cakes, which is lore canon, I believe. She did have that whole cupcake event with the baker skin. And a super cool note was this emote is it used to be unused in the game. Early on in Brawl's life, a file for an unused cake emote was found in the game. And for a while, it went unused until the Gala event, which repurposed this emote. Really cool stuff. For the next emote, we have the Brawlhalla Salute emote. In this emote, you salute. It's a pretty simple emote, which is also another charity item. It was sold on the Brawlhalla for 60 mammoth coins, with the proceeds going to military veterans through Operation Supply Drop. Now this item used to be super rare until much later when they added a new way to get this item, which was of course viewership rewards. For Brawlhalla's first ever charity stream, they handed this emote out for watching 8 hours of the stream. This charity stream took place on September 25th, 2020. Up next, we got the Be a Hero emote. In this emote, you stand with a cape with it flapping in the wind, but not to get confused with the avatar cape. Now this emote, get this, is a charity item, and was sold for only 6 days for 100 mammoth coins, with the proceeds going to Casper and Friends' Quest for the Cause. Now, there was another way to get this emote. Viewership rewards. During Brawlhalla's second ever charity stream, they handed this emote out for those who watched 4 hours of the stream, which took place on December 11th, 2020. For the next emote, we got the Burrito Time emote. In this emote, you eat a burrito. However, you can also eat a burrito with somebody else if they emote with you. This emote was given to those who watched 22 hours of the 2020 Mid-Season Championship, which took place from June 10th to June 12th. Now I think being keyword, this emote is a reference to how the Brawlhalla commentators sometimes place burrito bets on the upcoming matches they would commentate. And a small note would be how this emote is a reskinning of the Battle Pass Season 3 emote, School. Yeah. For the next emote, we got the Sweat emote. This emote has you sweating. This emote was handed out in the Crew Battle Invitational to those who watched 16 hours of the stream. Much like the Cakeversary emote, this was also unused at a time, but then re-added much later. Breaking the viewership reward trend, we got the Razor Vote emote. This emote has you hold up a sign with a green checkmark. Oh yeah, and a little thumbs up. It was given out for learning how to vote in the 2020 US elections. After viewing a website, you would be given this emote through code. This was handed out around mid-October to early November and, of course, 2020. One of the more unique obtainabilities for sure. And now we have, I'd argue, the rarest emote in the game, the Sweet Taste of Victory emote. This emote has you drinking some Mountain Dew and was handed out during the Mountain Dew Brawlhalla event. If you earned a total of 10,000 Legend XP during this event, you were given this emote, making it super rare. Because of this obtainability, you can't even buy a code for this emote. So to those who have this emote, you got yourself a collector's item for sure. And the only note I can make on this emote is, well, it does have its own reskinning. The Battle Pass Season 4 emote, Pop an Elixir, is almost the same emote. However, rather than Mountain Dew, you have an elixir. Okay, we're finally on the unobtainable emotes, which there are, like, none. There's not a lot. We got this Take a Knee emote, which could have been a charity item. Taking a knee or kneeling is a feature of BLM protests, which could have been what this emote was supposed to represent, but it isn't ever explained what this emote was for. It was only found in the render tool. And, of course, we got the Roof Dance and Slow Clap. Now, the Roof Dance is obviously unusable by the player, and is only seen when your legend is leveling up. And the Slow Clap is technically usable. The Slow Clap is the default defeat emote on the post screen of a match, but you cannot use this as an in-game emote. One thing to note about this is once you switch this emote out for a different defeat emote, you're not allowed to re-equip it. Do you think there's a Captain of Asgard 3 with this Slow Clap emote equipped? There's a low chance, but yeah, they probably do exist. Anyways, that should wrap up emotes. A lot of these rare emotes were either charity items or viewership rewards, which is fine, it's just not really a lot of interesting history on them. Alright, that's all for emotes. The next entry we will be talking about will be avatars. Yo guys, so if you didn't read the note I put in the description around this part, all you need to know is I lost the project file for the emote part of the video. And a new emote came out while making this video, so I legit have to add the emote like this. I'll make it fast. This emote is the Deep Sea Sightseeing emote. It's a charity item costing 120 mammoth coins. It was made for the Green Jam 2023. And it's just like any other charity item, meaning it's limited. It was released on the 9th of August in 2023. The only note I got on this is if you're playing as a sea creature or a sea creature skin, your legend won't be wearing a helmet. Sorry to rush things, but I'm scared of people clicking off of the video. I hope you can forgive me, but let's move on. Oh boy. Alright, up next we have the avatars, which has the second most entries on the list. It used to have the most rare items in the game before titles came along, but before titles, avatars were the main way to hand out rare drops. And I promise to you, these have more interesting histories than emotes. So without further ado, let's tackle this tremendously long list. For our first item, we have the 100 Million Brawlers avatar. This avatar was handed out for logging in during the 100 Million Brawlers event, which took place during May 18th to June 7th in 2023. Not too much to note, it is animated, it's not so rare, but you can't buy a code for it. So it will become more rare as it ages. For our next entry, we have the Tale of Iroh. Not crazy rare, but it is limited, so the more time goes on, the more rare this avatar gets. It was handed out for the avatar crossover. This avatar was obtained by logging in from November 16th to December 14th. The avatar is a reference to an actual scene from Avatar. The scene is Iroh, a character from Avatar, mourning the loss of his son. My gosh.
Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you.
As of now, there is no way to earn this avatar, and a fun little fact is this avatar does have a description, which is impossible to read because this avatar was obtained just by logging in. It's quite simple, it reads leaves from the vine, so nothing too interesting, but it's kinda cool that it has one. For our next avatar, we have the 1 million followers avatar. This avatar was handed out for logging in from March 31st to April 13th in 2021. It was a celebration item for Brawlhalla's Twitter account reaching 1 million followers. While not crazy rare, it is limited. It looks neat, but I don't really see anybody using this. This is more so a collector's item than a cool looking avatar. Up next, we have the Completionist Crown avatars. While we aren't covering Battle Pass items, these avatars have something special about them. These avatars are handed out every Battle Pass season and are given to those who complete the Battle Pass in every weekly mission, which there are 84 missions in every season. They were added for Season 2 and onward, meaning Season 1 never got their Completionist avatar until the re-release. While a lot of these could be considered rare, the rarest would be the Season 2 crown, but it could be wrong because they might have handed this out in the re-release. For our next avatar, we actually have 3. The Omen Oasis, Parsec, and Steel Series avatars. They're all listed here because the way you earn them is pretty much the same, just different events. The way you would obtain these was by either playing in the tournament sponsored by the service or watching the tournament through Twitch. Out of these 3 avatars though, the Steel Series avatar has got to be the weirdest. During the first ever viewership reward track, there lied 3 items. For watching 2 hours, you got community colors. For watching 8 hours, you got the dragon sidekick named Drake. And for watching 20 hours, you got the final reward, which is the exclusive avatar cape. And that was it. Until out of nowhere, the Steel Series avatar was being handed out for those who watched 35 hours. This was the only time BMG ever updated a viewership reward track out of nowhere. For our next avatar, we have the World Tree Sapling. This avatar shows a sapling being watered with a rainbow behind it. The avatar was handed out during the November charity stream for 2022. The way you would earn this was by going to gleam.io with a specific URL. From there, you would claim your avatar if you were fast enough. So there might be codes out there for this avatar, but are you really going to pay money for this? That's up to you, don't let me change your mind. Up next, we have the Superfan Bryn avatar. This avatar is Bryn sitting in front of her laptop with headphones connected. It was handed out in a giveaway during the Omen-sponsored Brawlhalla tournament. You would earn this item through the Gleam.io giveaway system like the World Tree Sapling, and there isn't a lot to note about this avatar. For the next entry, we got the Vote avatar. In this avatar, Uncle Olgrim is telling you to vote. This avatar was sort of bundled in with the raise your vote emote. However, to get this avatar, you had to do all the steps to get the emote, then share the info on Twitter for the avatar. That's all you had to do, really. You can only get it for a limited time, being around the 2020 US elections. I got the emote, but because they said some stuff about being 18, I thought I couldn't get the avatar because I'm a kid. So I never got it, and now I'm bummed. For the next entry, we have two avatars, the Charged Bodvar/Ada Gamer avatars. These two avatars were handed out during the Mountain Dew event for Brawlhalla. The avatars showed Bodvar and Ada gaming. The Charged Bodvar Gamer avatar was earned just by logging in during the event, which was around May 13th through the 30th in 2019, while the Charged Ada Gamer was earned by buying it from the Brawlhalla store for 1,000 gold, meaning the Ada avatar is slightly more rare than the Bodvar one. For our next set of avatars, we have a bunch. The BCX avatars and the seasonal shards. There are a bunch of these avatars, and their rarity varies because of their dates on the shards/BCX logo. The seasonal shards are, well, shards based on their season, and are animated, with the year of their release around the shard. And the BCX avatars are not too different, only with the BCX logo rather than a shard. Something to note about the BCX 2017 to BCX 2019 avatars is they do not have a date on them, only design changes. One method to earn these avatars is to buy a BCX/seasonal pack. The other method is viewership rewards. Brawlhalla hosts 5 traditional tournaments every year, the 4 seasonals and the Brawlhalla World Championship, aka BCX. You can earn these avatars by watching these tournaments on Twitch. Now do note they started handing these out during 2020, meaning avatars before 2020 can only be obtained through the seasonal/BCX packs. And another thing to note is they don't always do this. They probably throw in these avatars when they're short on items to hand out. The rarest out of the bunch would be the BCX 2016 avatar. Up next, we have the Community Org avatars. As of right now, there are 5 of these avatars. These organizations being Brawl League, Bearded Brawls, Moose Wars, NSIG, and Estisal. They can be earned in 3 ways. You either have to place top 8 or top 3 in their tournaments, win a giveaway, or be staff/pro in their org. However, there is an alternate way to earn the Brawl League avatar. All you have to do was get 5 million channel points on their Twitch. Yeah, unlikely. And to my belief, I think it's the only avatar that is a square. Like, yeah, they're all roughly squares, but they all have round edges to them. In-game, the Brawl League avatar is just a straight-up square. It's kind of weird, but like, at the same time, it's kind of cool. For our next set of items, we have the top tier ranked avatars. Depending on your placement for ranked seasons, you'll earn an avatar, which upgrades if you get that rank the next season. Now, it doesn't get rare until some of the more higher tiers. As of making this video, the rarest would be Diamond Tier 28. For our next set of items, we have the Tournament Participant avatars. There are a couple of these, which are all based off of FGC events. And the way you would obtain these is by playing in these events. And most, if not all, of these events were lands. In order of when the tournaments happen, the list contains avatars for CEO Dreamland, the Stream.me Legend Series, Combo Breaker, Shine 2017, the Stream.me Championship, Low Tier City, the Mammoth Cup, and DreamHack Fighters. You had to be there and play to earn these avatars. However, for the Combo Breaker, Low Tier City, and Stream.me avatars, they were also handed out in dev giveaways. That's right, no viewership rewards. There is another way of getting these avatars, but it isn't pretty. Up next, we have the BCX Brawler avatars. These amazing looking avatars are given to those that are really good at Brawlhalla, aka BCX participants, meaning you'd have to be power ranked near the top. And for those who don't know, power rankings are basically one's yearly tournament performance summary. You get power ranked based on your placement in official Brawlhalla tournaments. That's the rough explanation for it. These avatars also hold dates, which of course means their rarity varies. The rarest would be the BCX 2017 Brawler avatar. And for those who are curious, no, BCX 2016 never got anything special. Now, one thing to note about the BCX 2021 Brawler avatar is that it's the most common out of the bunch. For some reason, during BCX 2021, this avatar was handed out as a viewership reward. So not only did BCX 2021 participants get this avatar, but so did a lot of other people, which kind of kills its meaning. And while not a BCX Brawler avatar, it is earned in the same vein. For players who played in BCX 2018, they not only got the BCX 2018 Brawler avatar, but also the Astro avatar, which Astro were an actual sponsor for BCX 2018, providing the headsets. For our next two avatars, you probably know them. They are the closed beta / alpha crest avatars. Assumed to be the rarest Brawlhalla items in the game, they are not actually the rarest. I would argue at least. But yeah, they're still pretty rare. These avatars were of course handed out for playing the alpha and beta for the game. Around this time, you had to pay to play Brawlhalla. To get access to Brawlhalla's alpha / closed beta, you had to either buy the Founders Pack, the Founders and Friends Pack, the Berserker Bundle, or get an invite code, which is given to people who buy the Founders and Friends Pack. And of course, once you enter the alpha or beta for Brawlhalla, you were given your respective avatar. But wait! You see, while I was editing this part of the script to keep it up to date, I came across some more information regarding the beta avatar. It isn't as rare as we think. This avatar wasn't only given to those who played Brawlhalla's closed beta, but was also given to those who played Brawlhalla's mobile beta. And that beta was open for like 8 months, around 2020. And we also know how many people own the beta and alpha avatar. On PC alone, there are over 260,000 owners of the beta avatar, and there's only 1,634 owners of the alpha avatar. All of this was confirmed by Foda, a Brawlhalla dev in a Reddit post. Up next, we have the esport organization avatars. I'd argue the org avatars are more rare than the alpha avatar. There are a bunch of these org avatars, and all of their rarities do vary, but some of these avatars only have one to ever exist. These items are avatars displaying specific organizations in their logos. There are 26 of these. To obtain one of these avatars, you must be signed to the respective organization and play for their pro team. If you see one of these avatars in-game, most likely you're fighting someone pretty good. And finally, we have some of the hardest to obtain avatars in the game, the Bagel's production avatar and the BMG avatar. Now, you shouldn't look at these avatars as obtainable or unlockables. You can't be good at the game and you can't have all the money in the world to earn these. Rather, you'd have to be picked up by Bagel Productions or BMG and work with them. And to work with either studio for an avatar, it's unrealistic. And just to inform the unknown, Blue Mammoth Games, or BMG, are the game studio that made Brawlhalla. Don't let the Ubisoft logo fool you, all they did was buy it. And Bagel's Production are the people who do all the production work for Brawlhalla's official tournament scene. And I guess some trivia is that the BMG logo has these weird colors at the bottom. Yeah, that's something, I guess. Finally, we're on the unobtainable avatars. We'll start it off with the CPU avatar. This avatar is used for CPUs and cannot be used by any player. You've probably seen this avatar a bunch. There are a lot of removed / changed org avatars. There have been a bunch of esport teams who have had their avatar both put and removed from Brawlhalla's avatar list. There are 30 removed esport avatars, which is a lot. Along with them, there are also 3 changed avatars. Enix and Wildcard Gaming had a logo change, which Brawlhalla changed their looks to fit the new ones, but were removed. And Rectify Esports had their logo changed, so this old avatar was removed. However, the new avatar for Rectify Esports is still in Brawlhalla. There are 4 DreamHack 2018 avatars, which these 4 events did happen, however, these avatars were never handed out. And finally, there are a couple of these avatars here that don't really go to anything, so I'll just list them out for you. The Bear 1 avatar seems to be Bodvar's Bear. Coffee 2 seems to be an old version of the coffee avatar. Cupcakes 1 to 3 might have been connected to the Cassidy Cupcake event. This was the old default avatar, which is based off a BMG dev, Nick Doles, I think his name is. We got this helmet avatar called Helm, the old Knotwork, an old BMG logo. Mordex is coming. That's the name of the avatar, probably for the Enter Mordex event. Rip 1 and 2, the Salt avatar, and a Summer avatar. And there are these 2 avatars in the game which were sponsors for Brawlhalla. They provided keyboards and monitors. However, the 2 avatars were never handed out. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was all for avatars. I could have made this avatar section its own video. I should have done that. Damn. We're now rounding up to the last section of the video, which will be titles, which has even more entries than avatars. Okay, I understand this is the 3rd time I'm butting in, but I'll make this one even faster. The Mako's Reef avatar just came out while making this video. It was released with the Deep Sea Sightseeing emote, and was obtained by viewing a few different websites regarding the ocean. If you visited every website, you got the avatar. It's limited, so it's gotta be here. I tried to refrain from using really calm music, but it's the final section, That and this track is way too good to not use. Anyways, we finally got titles, our final entry of the video. Damn near every title is limited, so it's got the most entries. It's a line of text, they aren't that hard to make. Up first, we got the Wave Maker title. This title came out with the Deep Sea Sightseeing emote, and was obtained for logging in during patch 7.11. It's green, and that's sort of it. It's limited though, so we gotta put it here. Up next, we got the event titles. To obtain these titles, all you have to do is log in when the events are live. The rarities do vary, of course. The rarest title out of all of these titles that was handed out was during the 2020 Gala event. This title being Reveler, so of course they are not going to be crazy rare, but you know, they are limited. Up next, we have the viewership reward titles. These are pretty straightforward. These titles are handed out during Brawlhalla streams, mainly esports streams. At first, they were laced white, but then changed into a mint green. The rarest of these titles would be the Great Witness title. To obtain this Great Witness title, you would have to watch BCX 2020 NA Finals for 1 hour. Up next, we have the LAN titles. These set of titles are handed out in LANs, meaning you gotta go outside to an event to grab these. They're laced in a nice orange. Every LAN, starting from BCX 2022, are handing these out. The rarest would either be the Victorious or Super Cool titles. To obtain these two, you'd have to do some physical challenge at BCX 2022. I don't know what the challenge is, but that's what the wiki says. For the next title, we have the In the Oasis title. Much like the Oasis avatar, this was handed out in a giveaway. It's a simple title in white. This title was handed out from February 26th to the 27th in 2022. For the next title, we have the Valhallan title. The Valhallan title is a title handed out for getting Valhallan. And of course, as you know, Valhallan is no easy feat. This title displays what season you got it in as well. It is the only title laced in pink. The rarest of these titles would be Valhallan Season 26. Up next, we have the OG Metadev titles. To earn these titles, you would have to own the respective Metadev before the BCX 2020 viewership rewards were handed out. These titles are laced in blue, the same blue as your name. There's only 5 of these titles, being the first 5 Metadevs. The rarest being, of course, the OG Metadev Orion title. Up next is the Seasonal Ranked titles. The Seasonal Ranked mode has some unique rewards with them every season. These unique rewards being the titles. But the main 2 we are talking about is the Veteran and Master titles. As for which one is more rare, it's hard to say. To earn the Veteran title, you must win 500 games in a single season of the Seasonal Ranked game mode, in which you will earn this title. This title begins with what season you got it in, the game mode name, and then the word Veteran. Depending on the mode, this could range from realistic to insanity. Modes like Street Brawl are pretty fast and matches are quick. And all you need is yourself, no teammates. But modes like crew battles have extremely long matches and require teammates. The master titles are more impressive from a skill perspective. You'll need to get diamond in the seasonal ranked mode. This title is just like the veteran title. Instead of veteran though, we have the word master. Now earning the master title could seem easier and harder than the veteran title. The veteran title takes a bunch of time and patience in queue, in game, while the master title requires you to be good at the mode to achieve diamond. I'd say depending on the mode, either is more impressive / rare. However, the rarest titles would be the Season 20 Kung Foot Master / Veteran, being that Kung Foot was the first ever seasonal ranked mode. These Veteran / Master titles used to not be laced in blue though. The titles started as the same blue as your name, then switched to white, then finally was changed into the pretty blue we know. Up next, we have the Captain of Asgard 3 title. This title is the upgraded version of the Veteran of Asgard title, which is given and upgraded every time your account gets 1 year older. After tier 5, the title changes to Captain of Asgard, and as of making this video, the highest tier is 8, making Captain of Asgard 3 the rarest. In a bit, it's going to be Captain of Asgard 4, so this might get outdated fast. Up next, we have the SEA Challenger title. Now, this title is a little weird. This title stands for Southern Eastern Asia Challenger. This title was handed out to the top 16 players of each week of the SEA Challenger series. Along with this was a giveaway, meaning players outside of Southern Eastern Asia could rep this title. It's not that special, it's also laced in white and it doesn't really look that cool. But because of how rare it is, it could be cool. Up next, we have the Invitational titles. These titles are special as they are handed out to players who are invited to these tournaments. These tournaments being specifically invitational tournaments. Now what isn't special is how they are laced in the same white as most of the common titles. Not much to note here, the titles start with the respective tournament and then end with the shortened date of when they occurred. Except for the Japan Invitational, there's no date on this title. Up next, we have the Partnered Creator title. This title is handed out to content creators who are partnered up with BMG. Upon partnering up with BMG, they are given this title. At the time, this used to be the only title laced in orange, but then the land titles came out. Up next, we have the Developer title. This title is pretty much the BMG avatar in terms of obtainability. You can only get it if you work for BMG. The only thing to note here is how the title is laced in dark blue. Up next, we have the Finalist titles. These titles are given to those who are in the finals of official Brawlhalla esport tournaments. There are a good bit of these. You see, all of these finalist titles are laced in white except for one of them. This title being the BCX Finalist, which is laced in a nice gold. This gold is exclusive to top esport achievement titles. The rarest would be the BCX Finalist 2016 title, but thinking about it, there would be an equal amount of these titles in existence, since there would be the same number of finalists every BCX. But to see a BCX 2016 finalist would be rare, as you would be fighting somebody that not only was really good at the game, but is still playing the game today. So rare to see, but I think all of these BCX finalist titles are the same rarity. Up next, we have the Legend XV title. The Legend titles are handed out to those who have put a ton of time into Brawlhalla. Getting your account level 100 will grant you the Legend title, and for every 100 levels past this point, it will upgrade the title. The max to this is Legend XV or 15, level 1500. I'm pretty sure there are people with this title. And if there isn't, the closest person most likely would be Crocky. As of right now, I do believe he's Legend X though. Up next, we have the Champion titles. These titles are given to the champions of the respective tournaments, so only 1 to 3 players can hold these specific titles. The same rules apply with the tournament name at the beginning and the year of the tournament after, and of course are laced in that nice gold. Instead of telling you the rarest titles, since there are a couple of these titles that are only held by one person, I'll tell you the most common. These titles would be the Crew Battle Champion 2022 title and the 3v3 Champion 2022 title. And this is because 3 people are holding them instead of just 1 or 2. Also, look how long the champion title list is. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the final item on our list. We have the King/Queen/Monarch title. I honestly think this is the rarest Brawlhalla item in the game. This title is in an exclusive orange. And to obtain it, you'll have to win any Seasonal Royale. The Seasonal Royale is an 8-person invitational tournament, with the top 4 of NA and the top 4 of EU invited. What makes it so rare though is only 1 person can hold this title. So if you see this title in game, GG's. Now that would have been an epic way to end the video, but of course, that's not going to be happening, because we have 2 unobtainable titles. Now the first one is the Discovered title, laced in a green. It is thought to be intended for winners of large community tournaments, and the other title is Totally Recalled. It was supposed to be a reward for a physical challenge at BCX 2022, however, this code was never handed out. Now, if you're still wondering what the rarest item in Brawlhalla is, it would be a couple of items, which would be all the items to only have 1 to exist. So these would be all the 1v1 champion titles, the King/Queen/Monarch title, and some of the esport org avatars. On the wiki, it states that some only have 1 to ever exist, but it never states what avatars these are. I even asked one of the wiki writers about it, and from what they said, it's most of them. So, I'm gonna choose this avatar to represent them all because I never seen it in game and it looks kinda cool. And if you're curious on what the rarest Brawlhalla account is, it most likely would be Sandstorm. For those who don't know, Sandstorm is a Brawlhalla pro who used to be the best for a very long time. He took a break once he was bored of Brawlhalla and has come back, but not as the best, but still very, very good. He's won the most 1v1 tournaments in Brawlhalla history, which means he has the most 1v1 champion titles. Not to mention all the 2v2 champion titles he also has. So these are the rarest Brawlhalla items in the game, and no, you cannot buy them. For if you do, your account most likely will get banned. Now, originally, I wanted to make a big conclusion to this video, but I don't think that will be needed. So I would like to thank you if you made it through the entire video. I get it was long, but that was sort of the point. And I do apologize if I got anything wrong in the video. It's a lot of info, so I hope you can forgive me. And a lot of the fact checking was thanks to the fandom wiki page. So a big thanks to the wiki writers. Also, it's a given that this video is going to be added Come in?
Hey, Fox. So, I noticed that, there's a little scribble here. What's that?
Emoji skins are the dumbest addition to Brawlhalla, and nobody's gonna change my mind. But they are a cosmetic with some limited items. As you know, the Metadev Teros emoji is locked behind the Metadev Teros skin, which is rare. There are other emoji skins based on metadevs, but were obtained through BCX 2022's viewership rewards. They were all in one pack, and it was just one redeem code. And there is this Fenrir Mordex emoji given to those who got 10,000 XP during the 100 million brawler this thing. Okay, that should be every limited item as of August 10th. Yeah, that's a pretty weird way to end the video, but that should be everything. I'm so sorry this video took so long to make, but I do appreciate you watching it. Best to you all. Cosmetic types, and we'll be going through almost all of them. We'll order them by how many items are in each entry and how interesting they are. We'll go from KO effects to loading framed,